Yo guys, how's it going? Welcome back to these daily, semi-daily, regular transfer updates in the world of Inter. Hope you guys are enjoying these. Inter are giving us lots of content, and before we get into it, you know what to do, guys. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Today we got a few things to discuss. Shouts out to Anthony from Inter Worldwide. We kind of already covered this. PIERO Ausilio, our sporting director's long interview that he released today or last night with the Italian media. We'll cover that. But first, the burning topic or the news that I want to cover is again, Hakan, our Turkish brother. The rumors around him just don't die. And I said it, Di Marzio said, oh, the saga is over, the drama is over. It's definitely not over. Now, next to Galatasaray, their arch rivals Fenerbahçe add themselves to the list of suitors for Hakan. And according to Sport Media Set, which is mid source, okay-ish source, they are confirming that Fenerbahçe have shown interest in Hakan. That is Jose Mourinho's team, of course, would be ready to offer 15 to 20 million euros for the midfielder, which is already more than Galatasaray were ready to offer. Pasquale Guarro, again, decent-ish source. He says Hakan staying in Inter is not certain. Fenerbahçe are ready to submit an offer that could reach up to 20 million euros. And then out of Istanbul or out of Turkey, and so the way the things come out of Turkey is like really proper, like, soap opera, like Indian drama or Turkish drama serial. Like, they report things like Hakan reportedly said this on the phone. Like they find out what people have said on the phone somehow. How are they doing this? They're tapping phone lines. But anyway, according to them, he spoke with the Fenerbahçe president, Ali Koch. I don't know how to say the name properly. President, if you pay the transfer fee, I would like to pay for Fenerbahçe. Now, again, I don't know who this source is. Yagi's Sapunçoglu, 1.9 million followers. So maybe could be the Turkish Romano. I don't know, but I'll take these news with a pinch of salt. But again, the issue is, like we've been saying for weeks, this Hakan saga is just not, it doesn't help. This doesn't help Inter. Maybe he hasn't come out and said outright that he wants to leave, but all these rumors coming out and all his camp and friends and barbers and people associated with him that trying to push this move and he's not shutting it down. That's just as bad from Hakan's side. That's why, it's just, I want this saga to be over as quickly as possible. Again, Orazio Comando from Sport Media / The Zone. He says Fenerbahçe's contract offer to Hakan is 6 million a year plus bonuses. So higher than probably what he earns at Inter, but they were reporting Galatasaray were offering 10 million a year, so this might be a little bit lower than what Gala are offering. But it keeps pointing to the direction that Hakan and other Turkish sources keep saying that Hakan wants to return to Turkey. But again, Fenerbahçe, Galatasaray, Trabzonspor, Başakşehir, any of these Turkish teams, if you want Hakan Calhanoglu, minimum you gotta offer 20 million euros. Then we sit down on the table. Has to be, negotiation has to start around 30 million. Then we can talk here and there. These 15, 20 million euro, like just low ball offers, it's just not going to work. But if you want him, be serious. And Hakan, if you want to leave, be serious and ask for it. Ask for the transfer, because we'll get into it now. PIERO Ausilio spoke about Hakan. And he said that Hakan hasn't asked to leave. And again, I'm going to try to not repeat the same things Anthony from Inter Worldwide said, but, PIERO Ausilio, over the years, if you don't know much about him, he doesn't actually speak too much to the media compared to Marotta. He should be speaking more to the media, to be honest. He has been at Inter for a very, very long time. Hasn't got the most likable personality when he comes out in the media. And to be honest, most of the time when he speaks to the media, he lies. Like usually when PIERO Ausilio speaks to the media, you just gotta say, oh, the opposite is happening, or just take everything that he says with a pinch of salt. With Marotta, it's kind of like more political. Like you can just kind of read through Marotta where he's just trying to, be the kind of politician and make sure all sides are kind of happy and doesn't say anything too outspoken. With Ausilio, it's usually just trying to cover his tracks, and sometimes it could be related to transfers. But yeah, here we don't know whether this is true or not. But he says there was never any problem with Hakan. I mean, why did your boss, because Beppe Marotta is his boss, Why did your boss come out and literally call him out if there was never a problem? He's a strong player who's already given a lot to Inter and will give more. We're counting on a champion like him. We spoke with Galatasaray, but understood that deal will not be reached. They tried, but nothing more. And Hakan absolutely never asked to leave. So if that's the truth, which I don't believe from Ausilio, then Hakan needs to request this move and just, get it over with, all parties involved, so we can move on and try to find a replacement for him. So that's that on the Hakan situation. Hopefully this moves on again as usual. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Now, of course, the burning topic. And here, Ausilio, I'll give him credit. Fair play to Ausilio. He has come out with the cojones. He's put the balls on the table to Atalanta saying that, yes, we want Ademola Lookman. We are interested. We've made our offer. We're hoping they consider our offer. Lookman is our top target. We don't want negotiations to drag on. Our goal is to get Kivu his players as soon as possible. So he's confirming that, one, that Kivu asked for Lookman. Two, the offer has been made. And three, he is the top target. Lookman has opened to Inter, but we still need to define things with his club. We have a great relationship with Atalanta and its owners. We want to do this deal correctly and with as much respect as possible. Although saying this, he has, put Atalanta in a position very publicly that Lookman wants to move, Inter want to move, so it's Atalanta holding it up, and they don't want to drag the negotiations on. But I don't think this is really going to change too much with Atalanta's stance. They are a hard club to negotiate with. If they want 50 million, they will probably only move at 50 million, maybe a few million less than that. But I like to see this kind of, pressure being put on by PIERO Ausilio, which he never really does. Next part of this interview with Sky Sport was one that actually got some people concerned. And again, with Ausilio, you got to take, as I said, everything with a pinch of salt. So he said, Giovanni Leoni, I'm not entirely sure that we need strengthening in defense. We have 7 players in that department, all highly skilled, all versatile, who can play multiple positions. We like Leoni, of course, but like all players, it's difficult to talk about those from other teams, which is funny that he says that when he literally just talked about Lookman, who's owned by Atalanta, and says he wants to come to us. We made an offer. So again, there you go with PIERO Ausilio, what I was saying to you. But calma, guys. Just because he says, I'm not entirely sure that we need strengthening in defense, he is right. Again, take it with a pinch of salt. He's right. We've got, in terms of centre backs, he's counting Thomas Palacios in that. So in numerically, again, we can't have a squad of 30 players, guys. You got to be realistic. I know since last season, it seems like Inter need to have like 3 players per position. But realistically, you need 2. And then you obviously you need 11, a backup for each, so 22. And then you have a 25-man squad. And, you have those 3 guys that maybe are more versatile. So when he says we've got 7 players in that department, he's right. All highly skilled. Yeah, I guess he's right. And maybe not Palacios. Well, we don't know with Palacios. We haven't really seen much of him. But yeah, as soon as you get rid of one, which would be Palacios, then you have room for one more. And then, of course, if you want to bring Leoni, if you pay 30+ million for Leoni, one of the Vraya Cherbi should really realistically make space, or you have to make that commitment that, somehow Leoni gets a lot of playing time, regardless if those guys leave or not. But I wouldn't worry too much about this. I think we've known from all the rumors and the links in the media, a centre-back definitely seems to be a priority. Leoni, they went to the 2 top targets, but, I'm sure there's other names as well that Inter are looking out for if those 2, if we don't pull off those 2. And of course, there's also, we got to watch out if there's offers for Bisek, Pavard, these types of players as well. Because that's how the transfer market moves. It can be unpredictable. Another thing that I like from the interview, very, very clear. We've told Christian Asllani that after 3 years with us, it's time for him to find a new club and play more. He also said, let's remember that, he has over-under appearances and he's a key player for the Albanian national team. But yeah, well done. I think we all know. I did it. We talked about it in my Keeps Our Loan video. I do like Asllani. I liked Asllani when we signed him, but unfortunately he hasn't developed. He's not ready to be a starter for sure at Inter. Even the backup is kind of not really convincing. So it's time to move on, make the money. And he also actually says here, Inter Extra kind of, obviously they want to condense quotes to be most, impactful and powerful. But he also said in general to players that are not part of the project. So probably we're talking about Asllani, Taremi, Palacios. They've said it's time to find them a new club. So that's good. I like that, again, kind of being very clear. We don't really see that too often. So very, very powerful statements from Ausilio. Going back to Galatasaray, the Turkish links, Jan Sommer to Galatasaray. There was talk of this, but never directly with us, so we never discussed it. Sommer is our goalkeeper, and he will stay and will be competing with Jose Martinez. That was the full quote. Again, reiterating and, putting down his cojones on the table and saying to Galatasaray, if you want him, let's sit down, put a proper offer in. Don't try to, speak to the player, try to get him to leave us on the free. Yeah, none of that. And then in terms of outgoing, he's also confirming players that won't be leaving, or at least he's saying that are not for sale. We'll see. We'll judge by the end of the window if that's true or not. Davide Frattesi is not for sale. The full quote was that he is a key part of Kivu's plans. And there's also reports in the media, I don't know if you guys have seen them, that they might even renew Davide Frattesi's contract, of course, to spread his salary more, reduce his cost on the books more. But, if that happens, that shows that, yes, he is a very key cog potentially for Kivu. And same goes for Marcus Thuram. He said he's absolutely not for sale, which is good to hear. But at the same time, I still have doubts in terms of, bringing in Lookman. We already bought Boni, Esposito, Lautaro. That's a lot of players up front, which is obviously great. Lots of options, but, cost-wise and, minutes-wise, especially for someone like Pio Esposito or Boni, I don't know how good it will be for them minutes-wise, but we don't care. We want as much competition for the team. I'm just thinking about, player development-wise and money-wise, how Oak Tree are really pushing much more than I actually imagined. So let's see if all of this actually comes true. I'll be very, very impressed. Then, of course, there has been negativity around the whole Dumfries release clause, which, he admitted, the release clause is true. It was included at a particular moment. We risk losing him for free. So, I talked about this. I know Marotta, Ausilio got a lot of criticism for this. Maybe, 25, 30 million is a little bit low. But, at the time, as I said, it also shows that from Dumfries' side and his entourage's side, they have always had one eye to leave, potentially, not fully 100% committed to Inter. So, to get the renewal over the line is better than to lose him on the free, right? But we have not been approached by Barcelona, he says. And I think, as I said, because this release clause, I think, has to be paid in one chunk, not spread out payments and installments, I don't think it's going to happen. Moving on, Kivu. So now, we are seemingly moving towards a new formation, or at least continue with a base of 3-5-2, but definitely with players like Lookman coming in, the 3-4-2-1 is becoming more and more of a possibility. And he says that, Kivu didn't have any time. We talked about this with the Club World Cup. He just kind of continued with what already was there in Zagi's system. And then again, strong statement. He says, I smile to myself when I read concern. And there he's firing shots at me. And of course, or most Interisti out there who have been very doubtful of this whole process of the last few weeks since Inzaghi left. Our strongest players have stayed. That's true. And we've already brought in 5 from the market, which I'm guessing is counting in Pio Esposito and Zalewski. And the media says we should aim for top 4. Got it. So, like a little bit of a sarcasm as well. So again, fair play. So he's reiterating what Marotta has been saying. Marotta said that the objectives don't change. Inter want to compete for every competition like we did last season. And now Piero Ausilio is also saying that. So I have to say, especially if we pull off something like Lookman, then they are putting their money where their mouth is. They are giving Kivu the tools to try and compete for these competitions and for the Scudetto. Of course, we will judge by the end of the transfer window if that's true. But as of right now, with over 60 million already invested, with potentially already 100 with Lookman coming through, maybe more with Leoni, this is starting to look like one of the most busy and expensive transfer windows in a very, very long time. And then another good news, we've heard it in the media, but this is coming straight from the director of sport. He's saying Pio Esposito will stay with us. He'll do well. Again, great news. Moving on to other quotes. So Tejan Buchanan, the Sassuolo CEO, Sassuolo are back in Serie A. They just sold Armand Loriente to Sunderland, to the Premier League, a player that I used to like. And to replace him, it looks like Sassuolo want Buchanan. And yeah, their CEO confirmed that they're continuing talks with Ausilio and the club. We need to understand the player, not just the club. The negotiations are becoming increasingly lengthy and complicated. Yeah, I think it's probably because Buchanan's not too keen to join Sassuolo, but if he hasn't got any offers on the table, he might just have to take this one. Hopefully it doesn't drag on too long. Marco Di Vaio, the Bologna sporting director, confirmed that, well, actually didn't really confirm much of anything. He just said, you know, I'm not really going to talk too much about transfer rumors, but I think that is confirmed. And there's some confirmations around, Atalanta asked for Pio Esposito in the other Ademola Lookman deal, according to Sky Sport, and Inter said, nope, move along. Sky Sport confirming the rumors that Nico Gonzalez is also an option if Ademola Lookman doesn't pull through. I'm not too keen on this one for sure. Inter want to finish the Ademola Lookman deal within 10 days. The club is considering raising its offer to 45 plus 5. Let's see. I mean, before they said Inter don't want to move past 40, but at some point they probably will. And here is a confirmation of Inter's preseason matches for now. Of course, this is not the full schedule. There will be, the usual matches against Lugano and the Inter Primavera that they usually do. So Monaco, August 8th, Monza, August 12th, Olympiacos, August 16th. They probably have to squeeze in more matches than usual because we are starting later because of the Club World Cup. You see already Milan, Napoli, they're already, already a few days, if not a week into their preseason trainings. Inter are going to be behind, so they're going to have to probably try to squeeze in more games for Kivo and the staff to get ready for the new season. And that's it. That is it from me today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. So yeah, let me know your comments down below. Again, Hakan, the saga continues, a new club involved. How should Inter move on that one? Lookman, the saga continues. And Piero Ausilio, that's the main topic of today's video. What are your thoughts on it? Do you believe him? Do you not? Did you like what you're hearing? Let me know in the comments down below. Ciao ragazzi. Look out for the channel for more content. Always, Forza Inter.